Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Krishna.
All of us in this business have seen Boston evolve in 20 years from a startup to... Likewise, if you look at Hyderabad, in the last 20 years, we really see a nucleus of the CRDMO sector really establish itself. And last 18 months, the transformation is really underway. Changed. In 18 months, our global innovative partners have started really looking at to build the Indian ecosystem to be true innovative partners, strategic partners, as opposed to tactical service providers. And this is reflecting on just the culture we have built, the core capabilities we built. We all have worked really hard together to ensure that we've made the highest standards of quality and environmental sustainability. But the real test of the growth ability is going to come reliably, and that's where opportunity lies for us. Two key ingredients which are going to be making this possible is talent and technology. When I talk about talent, I'm just not talking about the talent at scale. It's a question we have to change our own talent profile to what the industry is demanding. In the past, we were a pair of... The key aspect of that is going to be bringing scientific curiosity to solve the cultural shift, how we operate, to truly become partners in the global system. And which really we can adapt very quickly, make part of our core processes to improve efficiency and problem solving. And there's so many new modalities come in, our ability all new modalities is going to be very critical. So net-net, the opportunity is tremendous, but at the same time, the work in the scale, and no one company can take this needle. This has to be a collaboration between companies, our innovative partners, and the government. Like we said, Sai, let's make it better together.
Now it is a pleasure to invite Dr. Kulini Gebes, Vice Chair and U.S. Life Sciences and Healthcare Industry Leader, Deloitte, to share her remarks.
Kulini Gebes, I'm thrilled to be here with you all. Good morning, honorable chief and distinguished guests. It is a pleasure to be here with you. It is a pleasure to be here representing Deloitte, and more personally, it is a pleasure for me to be here as a former public health worker and emergency medicine physician who has practiced around the world in hospitals and disaster zones. What I want to share with you today is that we at Deloitte are committed a future of health that is driven by innovation to make health and well-being accessible. We've been working with most of the Fortune 500 life healthcare companies to make sure that we touch the lives of hundreds of millions and billions of people around the world. With organizations leading in the life sciences and healthcare industry, we have helped launch the first CRISPR gene-based therapy for curative therapies. Our collaboration with organizations streamlines service solutions have demonstrated substantial benefits for clinicians and caregivers, innovations that we are spearheading and breakthrough. Yet, as we celebrate these great achievements, we, just like you, are witnessing that there are many trends rapidly reshaping the life sciences and healthcare industry. Industry convergence. Organizations are figuring out how to restructure themselves and how to rethink for humanity's most complex problems. Now, more than ever, we know that the key to solving collaborations that pull us all together. The path to an innovative and equitable future is not one that any of us should take alone. We at Deloitte are excited for what the future holds, what we can accomplish in partnership with all of you. Thank you to the government of Telangana and BioAsia for bringing us together. Let us continue to make the most of our time together and drive discussions for a healthier, better tomorrow for
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now I would request of Flanders, Belgium, as he shares his insights and thoughts.
Good morning and a warm greetings. Honorable Chief Minister Revanth Reddy Garu, Honorable Minister Sridhar Babu Garu, and rest of the dignitary on the dais, and then the vibrant life science ecosystem in Telangana gathered here today. I represent the Flanders and Telangana Life Sciences Corporation is in its third year as international region partner for BioAsia and interacting with the Telangana. Flanders has a strong and profound research and innovation ecosystem. It is diverse and characterized by offering in biotech, medtech, pharmaceuticals, healthcare, and it offers a very robust financing landscape as well as a supportive government. Flanders, Belgium plays a very, very important role in Europe as the nerve center of Europe. Flanders has been engaging with Telangana Life Sciences team for some time now, and several luminaries have been given the Lifetime Achievement Awards, keynote speakers at BioAsia, and more importantly, Dr. Majorsunilshetty has been the chairman of the International Advisory Committee of the BioAsia for several years now. Dr. Majorsunilshetty's role in building this Flanders-Telangana cooperation is highly appreciated. Thank you, Ajit, for this. The Flanders Life Sciences Network is also represented by Flanders Institute of Biotechnology, popularly known as VIB, and also the life sciences enterprises. Areas of interest range from immunotherapy to fermentation technology to genome technology to lipids, and among the cluster-to-cluster cooperation. As part of this cooperation, several rounds of roundtables, visits, and interactions as Deepandala and team with the Honorable Chief Minister of Telangana, Shri Revanth Reddy, and team at the World Economic Forum in Davos. We have Flanders Life Sciences taking a team visiting, and then I would invite the vibrant Telangana ecosystem to interact with them and then foster cooperations. Before I conclude, we would like to extend a warm invitation and to explore set up their R&D setups or market exploration enterprises. Flanders is hosting its undoubtedly the most annual life sciences event in Europe for various stakeholders. We are pleased to extend an invitation and looking forward to welcome the Telangana Life Sciences delegation to the Knowledge for Growth to be held in May 7th and 8th, 2025. We look forward to further build together this Flanders Telangana Life Sciences Corporation. Once again, wish the 20th BioAsia event all the success. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. I humbly request our guests to keep it brief. Thank you very much, keeping the time in mind. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, let us now hear from Dr. Ajit Shetty, Chairman Emeritus, Janssen Pharma and Chairman, International Advisory Board BioAsia, as he provides his perspectives.
Good morning. Minister, Honorable Governor, it's a pleasure associated with this inauguration. I joined the International Advisory Board of BioAsia in Pharmaceutica. The theme was very simple: technology first, 500 attendees. But what it did do was really set the events not only in this region but in the world. Now, let's fast forward to 2025. Under the leadership of Sati's tremendous trajectory of growth, and I'll use the factor 5 because when we come now to 2025, we are talking about over 2,500 attendees versus 500, which is a tremendous achievement. So as we move on to 2025 and onwards, with the theme of expanding global healthcare frontiers, I am convinced you have set the platform for not only a new era of innovation, and most important, patient benefits. In the words of Dr. Paul Janssen, the patients are waiting. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I request Dr. Satyanarayana Chava, founder and CEO of Lotus Labs, to please share his insights.
Everyone. Good morning, Honorable CM Revant Reddy Garu. Good morning to Minister Sridhar Babu Garu, and also young and dynamic leadership of the government of Telangana. These days, pharmaceutical industry is a convergence of many areas in science and technology. What Hyderabad offers, technology, IT, AI, ML, and also very good ESG standards for the state and also for the city, and also very good living standards for the expats who want to move bad, should bring the gap between the global launches and India launches of drugs should be very closer. I think India will become the launches, what will happen elsewhere in the world will also happen at the same time. And that's the time where we can say we are also doing very good in pharmaceutical industry. And we want to thank all the, and this is just the beginning, because we know the capabilities of the current leadership in the government of Telangana. I'm sure. And once again, thank you, all of you, for choosing Hyderabad as your destination. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I will now call upon Dr. Sadhna Jodlikar, Senior Vice President and Head. Good morning, everyone. Honorable Chief Minister Revant Reddy, Honorable IT Minister, dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries off the dais, and my fellow colleagues. BioAsia has really become synonymous with what I consider as reimagining and acting as a catalyst of change within the life sciences and the healthcare services. Charlie Gates, Satya Nadella, Paul Polman, ex-CEO of Unilever, and that speaks volumes about the deliberations, the takeaways, and the importance. It has not happened by chance. And therefore, I thought it would be appropriate to take a pause and government of Telangana in providing and enabling this to happen. Having worked in the pharmaceutical industry for 25 years in India and outside of India, having seen governments work with academia, I can truly say with my hand on my heart that what I see and with Telangana government is nothing short of awe-inspiring. Here is a government which has a vision, and a long-term vision, not a 1 year, 2 year vision, and most importantly, has transformed this vision into reality. And all of this while ensuring that it stays a true part, even the birth of the state of Telangana, a company that has grown its footprint from having end-to-end presence in several functions, including R&D. And now taking the leadership of, whether you talk about scientific innovation symposium, where you get the brains, the deep science brains from across the ecosystem to expose young, bright minds would not have been possible without the progressive and visionary government of Telangana. So thank you very much. We want the senior leadership of Novartis. And with that, I take great pleasure in wishing BioAsia 2025 a grand. Now let's hear from Mr. Som Chattopadhyay, National Executive, Amgen.
Good morning. Namaste. Honorable Shri Revant Reddy, Honorable Minister of Industry, Shri Sridhar Babu, all of you present in this place, it was special because it was blessed at Amgen, because Bob is going to give you a speech about, he's a keynote speaker, so you'll know more about Amgen. But we are really, our site here is a technology and innovation center out of GCC. We plan to integrate the best talent with the best challenges, unlock new possibilities, and serve more patients globally. This is Amgen globally, and make a lasting impression on global health. Thank you.
Proceed further, may I request everyone to please turn their attention onto the screen for a very special video.
Guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's a real privilege to have a timely reminder of the critical role innovation and collaboration play in transforming healthcare systems and improving lives worldwide. Just last month, at the Waters explored how technology and cross-sector partnerships can address the world's most pressing challenges, including, of course, in healthcare. Today's summit continues that conversation from Davos with a focus on tangible solutions to improve outcomes. Telangana is at the forefront of this transformation. Big congratulations on that. As the 1/3 of the world's vaccines, it has become a global hub for healthcare innovation. In the past year alone, over 140 global companies have established a presence here, reinforcing Telangana's position as a leader in shaping the future of global health. At the World Economic Forum, advancing global health requires not only technological breakthroughs, but also cross-collaboration, inclusive policymaking, and shared accountability. This is why our partnership with the Center for the Fourth IIR, Telangana, is so vital. Together we are working to accelerate the bioeconomy, advance digital health adaptation, and improve workforce well-being, all key pillars in building a more resilient and equitable healthcare system. We will set new benchmarks for excellence, ensuring that the benefits of innovation reach every community around the world. And thank you for joining us on this critical and consequential journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Veli, and the World Economic Forum. We truly appreciate your collaboration with C4IR Telangana in driving innovation and collaboration in the life sciences sector. Thank you very much. Now I would like to request Mr. G.V. Prasad, Co-Chairman and Managing Director, Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, to share his remarks.
Good morning, Honorable Chief Minister Revant Reddy Garu, Minister for Industries and Commerce, Sridhar Babu Garu, and Dr. Young. It's a great honor to be here. And I had a long speech, but I'm going to cut it very short since you all want to listen to the Chief Minister. As I reflect back, Dr. Reddy's was founded in the year 1985. At that time, there were maybe about 10 companies making pharmaceuticals, APIs, and from there, we've come a very long way. We've become a global leader in APIs, in generics, a very big force in biosimilars, a strong presence in CDMO and contract research, and some signs of innovation. So we should all be very proud of what Hyderabad has achieved under the leadership, mature leadership, political leadership, the very resourceful and dynamic entrepreneurs from Telangana, and we moved a very big way. So we should really congratulate ourselves for this. We've also created an ecosystem which has become a positive spiral, from APIs to generics to biosimilars to innovation to services and corporate hospitals, which are also part of the ecosystem. Together, I think we really are a force now. But like somebody said, we have to move. We have to move beyond these businesses, which are largely based on work somebody else has innovated and we do better. From there, we have to go to innovate. And that is a big, steep change for all of us, but it is in the realm of the possible. I urge all entrepreneurs, pharmaceutical companies, and local industry to look at this, the opportunity to innovate, find opportunities to serve diseases which are very specific to India and other such things which are not invested on by large pharmaceutical companies in the world because of economic reasons. And like China has created a very vibrant local market for innovation, I think India also has to do that. We have to find ways to give premium to innovation so that will spur a lot more innovation. If you see the way China has moved in the last 10-15 years from almost very little innovation to become the second most innovative nation in biotech and pharmaceuticals in the world, it's possible for us. It requires committed political leadership with long-term orientation. We have that. And of course, dynamic entrepreneurs who are willing to take intelligent risks. That's for the Indian companies. For the international companies, I know you're putting your global centers here, and one of you said we want to innovate here. We need to do a lot more of that. We need to bring your core innovation to this country. This is a country of 1.5 billion, and the market is very, very big for any disease you look at. So instead of just limiting yourself to the World Innovation Centers, we must bring your core R&D operations into India. With these two messages, I want to thank all of you and have a great seminar and great event today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's hear from Mr. Jayesh Ranjan, IAS Special Chief Secretary to Government of Telangana Industries, Commerce, IT, Electronics and Communication, as he shares his thoughts.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Minister, Honorable Minister for Industries and IT, Her Excellency Governor of Queensland, Dr. Young, dignitaries of the dais, participants, guests. I would also like to convey my heartiest welcome to everyone, particularly outstation participants who have come here to grace this amazing conference. This is the 22nd edition, and we come across very, very few seminars or conferences or events that have had such a long run and which become bigger and better and more enriching year after year. In fact, there is a global body of investment promotion organizations. It is called WIPA, World Association of Investment Promotion Agencies, and BioAsia is showcased there as a case study on how for 22 years we have conducted this. So in the events industry, these kind of events are called properties. So they speak about this BioAsia property, how this property has become bigger, how it has fulfilled multiple objectives, how different stakeholders find value in this property, and what is happening today and tomorrow. And of course, day zero, yesterday, these 3 days are going to be phenomenal. Yesterday, I would just like to give a brief account. Of course, we learned that the Amgen's India Innovation and Technology Center was inaugurated by Honorable Chief Minister and Honorable Minister and their Chairman and CEO. But something else also equally significant happened. We had the inaugural of Miltenyi Biotech's facility in the Genome Valley, which is the first center of excellence on cell and gene therapy in the country. And the privilege that it is happening in Telangana, in Hyderabad, should not be lost on anyone. In fact, this I'm very, very confident will pave the way for next generation technologies, what Dr. G.V. Prasad and others spoke about, to make India their hub. And under the leadership Honorable Minister for Industries, we are now developing a policy which we are calling Next Gen Life Sciences Policy. So Hyderabad, as we all heard, has done exceedingly well in pharmaceuticals, in vaccines, in biotech R&D, in medical devices, in the confluence of digital and life sciences. But what are the next generation technologies, the frontier technologies to conquer? Cell and gene is of course very important. Genomics, personalized medicine, advanced manufacturing, all of these will be a very key part of our forthcoming next gen life sciences policy. And there is a lot to really look up and look forward to in Hyderabad, and we continue to seek everyone's cooperation and support. So may all of us together continue our patronage and our commitment to this event called BioAsia, and continue to make Hyderabad and Telangana our go-to destination for setting up our businesses and new initiatives. Once again, warm welcome to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for encouraging words. Ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to our next session, the Genome Valley Excellence Award. I'm sure you all were waiting for this. The Genome Valley Excellence Award has achieved the stature of the most eminent award in the field of life sciences. Year on year, distinguished personalities have been presented with this coveted honor. Over the years, the Genome Valley Excellence Award has garnered prominence as a coveted recognition within the life sciences fraternity, and has become synonymous with groundbreaking innovation, cutting-edge research, and transformative impact. So we are delighted to confer this year's award to Professor Patrick Tan for his extraordinary contribution, ladies and gentlemen. On that note, I would like to request our Honorable Chief Minister, sir, to do the honors of presenting the Genome Valley Excellence Award 2025 to Professor Patrick Tan, ladies and gentlemen. I would also request our Honorable Minister for Industries, along with Mr. Ranjan and Mr. Nagapan, to join in congratulating Professor Patrick Tan. Ladies and gentlemen, let the claps keep rolling, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. The recipient of the Genome Valley Excellence Award 2025, Professor Patrick Tan. Congratulations, sir. And thank you, dignitaries, to do the honors. Now let's welcome Professor Tan to share his thoughts and give his acceptance speech.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Minister, Honorable Minister, Honorable Governor. Thank you for gracing today's occasion. I stand before you here extremely honored, humbled, overwhelmed with this recognition that really follows a very, very prominent set I am privileged to stand around. Not just for myself or for research achievements, but because all of this work has been done in Singapore, which is a tiny country and probably 25% the size of Hyderabad. But what I do feel is that this is a reward, an award, not just for myself, but for Singapore, but for Asia. The diseases are different, the cancers are different, the disease manifestations are different, the responses to therapies are different. All of us to band together, maybe Singapore can play a small role in thinking about how we can apply therapy to treat diseases tailored and relevant for us in Asia that collectively represent the majority of the world. And for that, I thank you very much for this recognition.
sir, and once again, congratulations to Professor Tan. And now to address us all, may I request Her Excellency, the Honorable Dr. Janet Young, ACPSM, Governor of Queensland, Australia, to please share her.
Thank you. The Honourable Chief Minister, the Honourable Minister for Industries and Commerce. I would also like to acknowledge the Honourable Ros Bates, MP, who is Queensland's Minister for Finance, Trade, Employment and Training, and shows the importance that we place on BioAsia and this relationship. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As the Governor of Queensland, I would first like to express my sincere gratitude to all of those who have been involved with in the warm welcome you've given us in arriving here to BioAsia 2025. Of course, Queensland and India will always enjoy a very, very special bond through our mutual love of cricket. But even more important than that, I might say, is the increasing collaboration in the field of life sciences. Queensland is home to world-class research institutions, advanced healthcare technologies, and a robust life sciences sector. But we have so much to learn from you. Look forward to that. Hyderabad's BioAsia 2025 is the key focus of our mission to India. And given my own background in health and health policy, I'm very much looking forward to meeting BioAsia delegates from across the region who work at the forefront of life science innovations. Queensland has 20 delegates representing 10 Queensland companies and research institutions at BioAsia 2025. And later today we will launch our showcase of world-leading health innovations being exhibited at this health tech and life sciences event. And I invite you all to pop by. BioAsia is key to Queensland as it promotes investment and collaboration in digital health, medical devices and advanced therapeutics. As such, we have representatives from 4 of Queensland's major tertiary research institutes, the University of Queensland's Australian Institute for Bioengineering and Nanotechnology, Queensland University's Clinical Trials Centre, the University of the Sunshine Coast, and QIMR Berghofer Medical Research Institute, all here this week to meet with key Indian partners and stakeholders. In addition, key Queensland exporters to the region in the health and life sciences sector, including Vaxis, Brazilian Bioanalytics, Southern RNA, Telmec, Healthcare Logic and G20 Me Consulting are all exhibiting here, so please come and meet them. Demand from India for Queensland's health products, life science innovations and services has experienced tremendous recent growth in the previous years. But more than all of this, India also remains the second largest source market for international student enrolments in Queensland, with 19,990 enrolments as of September last year. Of these, nearly 3,000 were in health-related programs in Queensland, with 60% in higher education, nursing and public. This is a key relationship for us. I'm sure that Queensland's commitment to BioAsia, Telangana and India overall, as demonstrated by the strength of our delegation, will continue to strengthen our excellent relationship. Thank you. Thank you for your hospitality and enjoy BioAsia. I certainly will.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Ladies and and gentlemen, we now move to a significant moment in BioAsia 2025. We're happy to announce the strategic partnerships Telangana government is forging to advance the life sciences ecosystem. On that note, I would like to invite Dr. Ben, CEO Health Innovation Manchester, part of NHS UK, along with Oliver Barnes and Andrea Winders on stage, and also like to welcome Mr. Sujit, the CEO of T-Hub, on stage, and I would request our Honorable Chief Minister, Honorable Minister of Industries, Mr. Ranjan and Mr. Nagapun, to come forward on the stage to exchange the MOUs. Digital Health Solutions, backed by T-Hub, Rich, IKP, AIC T-Hub, Emmett Young, AC, PSM, Governor of Queensland, Australia, to please join the Delhi, Mr. Alan Rowan, Mr. Trent Mingo, Mr. Justin McCowan, and Mr. Abhinav Bhatia, to please Sharma. Ladies and gentlemen, on the stage for the launch of India Digital Health Activator. Ladies and gentlemen, India Digital Health Activator is the first of its kind initiative by We are very proud to announce that Telangana will be the first hub under the activated framework. Innovative Pharmaceutical Services Organization that is headquartered in Hyderabad. We are all, along with the core members who are going to join us on stage to celebrate this remarkable achievement and shape the future. I request Mr. Peter Baines and Mr. Mani Kantipuri, along with the core members, to please join us on stage. I request our Honorable Minister to do the honors. Together to establish IPSO. With a shared vision, gentlemen, this collaboration between these 11 CRDMOs will drive innovation, facilities, knowledge sharing, and accelerate global. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be Pharmaceutical Services Organization that is headquartered in Hyderabad, and I humbly request, ladies and gentlemen, Sri D. Sridhar Babu Garu to please enlighten us with his thoughts.
Good morning to all. Andariki namaskaram. Welcome to our BioAsia 2025 Catalyst for Change. So here in the scientists, entrepreneurs, and our esteemed, all the enlightened men over here, with the presence of our Chief Minister, Honorable Sri Revanth Reddy Garu, and Professor Dan, Dr. Shetty, and all elders from the industry on the day, from the Queensland state who have come here, and also big delegation from Milton, and of course friends from media. This is the second time after we formed the government. As rightly said by the elders on the days when we started this vision, ultimately evolving ourselves to become a globally recognized platform, wherein we try to get the brightest minds, the most innovative companies all around the world. I extend my deepest gratitude to all our partners, stakeholders, industry leaders who have played a pivotal role in shaping this research and collaboration, and not only strengthened Telangana position the global healthcare. I would like to mention here that we see Fortune 500 Genome Valley Excellence Award in the same forum on the days of our reputation. The BioAsia has been built over the past 12 decades, a culmination of excellence. We have invested and we have witnessed a huge surge of we have chosen Telangana as the gateway to India, which is a rapidly growing disease. Innovation hubs. These investments across the life sciences value chain globally. Genome Valley, the heart of our life sciences industry, continues to attract 51,000 direct jobs and 150,000. Honorable Chief Minister, Mr. Revant Reddy, and I were in Davos for the World Economic Forum on us during our trip, and I'm also proud to share that our 1.78 lakh crores. This underscores the trust the companies and healthcare investments. On the sidelines of this BioAsia, our government was pleased to mention here that we've also inaugurated Milteney, cutting-edge cell and gene therapy takes place. With healthcare and the life sciences at the heart of the Telangana's growth strategy, with Queensland University, an MOU with NHSI MOUs for several leading pharma companies like Biotech, Orbicular Pharma, Aragens 5. Additionally, the Association of the Contract Research, Development and Manufacturing Organization have also announced their innovation in this sphere. We want our state to be an important node in the global wellness value chain, and also our government is facilitating more investments. As we look to the future, our focus remains steadfast on skilling and workforce development. Telling skill strength over here, a key pillar in this mission is to establish a life sciences university, collaborating closely with GCCs in Hyderabad. We are designing specialized curriculum in science and technology. In collaboration, is making significant strides. I am delighted to share the first batch in each and every sphere of our lives. The pharma or the life sciences is one exception. If you have seen it, Hyderabad as such, everybody knows is a key player, a home for 230 US university, and we're also in terms of drug discovery, APIs, biosimilars, and the high-end research. And thousands of delegates who are here from the niche companies over here. I invite you to come.
Our leaders from MSD to come onto the stage. Please welcome Mr. Dave, our Honorable Chief Minister, to please present a token of appreciation, and would request our Honorable Minister for... As we capture this moment, ladies, as Legion to please join us along with Mr. Loki, to please join us on stage. We are delighted to announce that as we capture this moment, I will take the liberty of stage. We are delighted to announce that ALS, a global leader in testing, inspection, certification, and to please please join us on stage. And we're delighted to announce that MOUs are being exchanged to reconcile life sciences. I welcome the leaders from these companies to please join us on stage. The state's position as a global leader in the pharmaceutical innovation and manufacturing bringing 5,445 crore in investments and creating. And now the time has arrived which you all were eagerly waiting for. We are truly honored to have with us
Welcome to BioAsia. BioAsia has helped such institutions that create a culture of innovation and created Genome Valley years ago. EV capital of India. With highest sales of EV in this core urban area, I wanted to develop one of the world. We will connect these two rings with several radial roads. These port in neighboring Andhra Pradesh state. These two ports will be ecosystems for biosciences, biotech, manufacturing, skills development, and investment. Yesterday, we have the biggest names and greatest minds are here from the industry. Together in pharma manufacturing, IT, and digital health. Number one state in India in attracting investments, both domestic and foreign. We have lowest jobs across diverse sectors. Last year, we successfully attracted investments of over 40,000 road and regional ring road. We hope to generate over 5 lakh new jobs. The Genome Valley Excellence Award. Once again, I welcome.
Thank you. So I request you all, the dignitaries along with our leaders, to please step up for a photo. Our heartfelt gratitude to the dignitaries, our esteemed personalities who have spared their valuable time for their support to BioAsia 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving ahead. Sessions will provide deep insights into the future of life sciences, biopharma, innovation, and opportunity to thank our sponsors for supporting BioAsia 2025, Loris Labs. I can see all the fans clapping for their support. Thank you. Our event partners, Syngene and Medtronic. CEO Conclave sponsor Takeda, our international partner Region Concepal, Milton V, Emerson Labs, Santoris, and Virtual. Ladies and gentlemen, the wait is done. We move on to our first. Oh my God, that is a grand welcome.
For more than 20 years, BioAsia has brought together biotechnology and sustainability. Our host region, Hyderabad, has research institutions and now a growing number of global players and created a new technology and innovation center here in Hyderabad with a $200 million initial investment. Amgen India in ways that are amplifying the strengths of both and will lead to rapid breakthroughs in our understanding of serious diseases, tell you where we came from and how we've grown over the past 45 years. We're early pioneers in the use of recombinant DNA technology. Early years, other parts of the United States, notably South San Francisco, and in view of Southern California's abundant academic talent, Amgen's founders saw this as located their new company in the then rural town of Thousand Oaks, just 45 minutes outside of Los Angeles, and it remains headquarters there today. Now, biotechnology, of course, is a challenging and high-risk enterprise, and the failure at the dawn of the biotechnology era
only 2 are standing still today, and one of those survivors is Amgen. In the early days of biotechnology, Amgen disease. The race was on to create protein-based medicines, including one known as erythropoiesis, suffering from chronic kidney disease. Now, normally when the body needs red blood cells, which of course carry oxygen to our tissues, the kidneys produce but patients whose kidneys are diseased or damaged don't produce protein, and their red blood cell count as a result remains very low. A team at Amgen, led by named Fu Quinn Lin, worked tirelessly for years to be the first breakthrough that they generated, resulted in Amgen's first marketed product, known as epoetin alpha. Lived normal lives, and it dramatized for all the world to see the promise of medicine to stimulate red blood cell production. A second team at Amgen was attempting to clone a protein that would stimulate white blood cell action. And up until this point, cancer patients receiving chemotherapy often the chemotherapy that they were receiving might prove effective at fighting the cancer, but it left patients vulnerable to life-threatening counts. And patients who contracted an infection had to stop their chemo treatments until the infection. Well, Amgen's second drug, known as filgrastim, changed this terrible dynamic for lead. And looking back, it's hard to overstate the significance of these medicines. Industry as a whole. And these were the industry's first 2 big blockbuster medicines. And they were developed and launched by Amgen in the space of just from doctors, from patients, and from investors. Now, Amgen has come a long way since these early days, from a handful of scientists working in Thousand Oaks in the early 19th industry. Today, Amgen's marketed portfolio includes 36 innovative medicines and biosimilars. All of them treat serious diseases in 4 therapeutic categories: general medicine, rare disease, inflammation, and it's the top cause of death worldwide. Cardiovascular disease, and this represents about 1/3 of all deaths globally, and more than 3/4. Sadly, the burden of and prevalence of cardiovascular disease is increasing. In nearly double the number from just 30 years ago. And cardiovascular disease, of course, in South Asia. In 2022, the region had more than 36 million cases of ischemic heart disease. Resulting access to innovation is required to address the risk factor for heart attacks and strokes. First-line oral treatments, such as statins, are often not enough to help people at high risk. A relatively new class of cholesterol-lowering drugs, pioneered in part by Amgen, can make a significant of the PCSK9 enzyme, which reduces the ability of LDL receptors in liver, soundly lower LDL levels in circulating blood, and help prevent heart attacks and strokes. In another area, if we look at oncology, Amgen has led the way in developing a whole new class. These are immunotherapy treatments that direct the body's immune system to attack cancer cells. It forms a bridge between T cells and cancer cells, triggering, once engaged, T cells release chemicals that result in the targeted destruction of the cancer cells that they are bound to, solid tumors as well. Our work on these and many other diseases exemplifies Amgen's approach to innovation. We seek to advance first or best inside our own labs, or whether it's innovation that we have brought in from the outside. And over time, if you look at Amgen, and we're always on the lookout for partners with interesting innovation that fits well with our core strategy. As I said, one reason is that populations around the world are getting older, and as people are susceptible to diseases of the aging process, such diseases as heart disease, cancer, become more prone to diseases such as diabetes and obesity, which are associated with unhealthy diet, and such as asthma. Now, fortunately, the biology industry's ability to develop and bring to patients innovative treatments has never been better. Amgen has been preparing for this moment now for more than a decade, and we've made some big investments in our digital and tech efficiency and success than we've ever done before. Now, let me highlight a couple examples of how recent advisory work. First, we're using vast amount of precision medicines. Since committing to human genetic research in 2012, we've built a massive database, and they're making it possible for us to quickly derive powerful insights from this data, and that data, AI and machine learning, to select and design therapeutic proteins faster and more successfully, again, than ever before. For years, we prototype molecules before moving any of them into clinical trials. Failing to achieve the desired outcome or yielding unacceptable side effects. Design new proteins in the lab that would be engineered to achieve particular results in the body. Now, and that's because a protein's three-dimensional structure is key to determining its function. Now, back in 1972, on this topic of three-dimensional structure, necessary to determine how a protein folds into its three-dimensional structure is contained. He reasoned that if you knew the amino acid sequence for a protein, you should be able to predict its structure. And that observation triggered what became known to predict the structure of proteins from their amino acid sequence. Now, since an average therapeutic protein, for example, can fold itself into any one of 10 to 300 atoms in the universe, yet billions and billions body, and they fold into the right structure in microseconds. So there must be some of a protein. Researchers had to use traditional empirical methods, such as X-ray crystallography or nuclear magnetic resonance or laborious, expensive techniques were able to decipher the structure of just roughly 20% of the. Now, that made possible the development of numerous innovative medicines that have transformed cancer, cardiovascular care, and other conditions, but it also meant that the structure of some and that in turn constituted a huge bottleneck for drug discovery and design, especially when you consider that human genome sequencing makes it possible now to know the exact sequence of. Now, fortunately, since 2020, public use, increasingly powerful tools based on artificial intelligence, big data, and machine learning that have made it possible to predict the structures of virtually every protein in the human body. Wet lab researchers like Amgen are now able to use these tools in combination with our own expanding knowledge of human biology to ramp up our drug design and development work. At Amgen today, we're using artificial intelligence and machine learning to make and select proteins that are more likely to succeed in the clinic. And we're advancing molecules to the clinic twice as fast as we were able to do before. And this is allowing us to rapidly improve our protein engineering success rates while reducing the time needed for protein engineering and optimization. Our Vice President of Research, Saptarsi Haldar, will have a lot more to say about this during his address tomorrow, and in particular, a lot more about how we are using AI, big data, and machine learning across our research enterprise. Now, while it's certainly an exciting time for human biotechnology, given the dramatic advances in our ability to innovate, we're painfully aware that our new treatments won't achieve their intended purpose unless patients actually use them, and unless they're used not only to treat disease after it develops, but also to prevent it in the first place. For far too long, healthcare systems around the world have focused on a break and fix. In other words, on providing very effective but also very expensive fixes to save lives and restore health following heart attacks or strokes or osteoporotic bone fractures. And what we need is a reorientation of health systems, one that favors predicting and preventing disease over waiting to fix that which is broken. And we know how to predict who is likely to experience major events resulting from cardiovascular disease or osteoporosis or cancer. And we need to focus more on innovating early to prevent those events from happening in the first place. Many of our tools for predicting who is at highest risk are inexpensive and low-tech. For example, LDL screenings or mammograms and bone density scans. And so not only are the tools for screening and therefore for predicting widely available at relatively low cost, we also now have the means to prevent adverse events among people who are at highest risk. We have medicines that can prevent disease, for instance, by reducing high cholesterol or strengthening bones. So at Amgen, we're partnering with scientists and patients in policy adoption of innovation to enable us to predict and prevent those diseases which are predictable and preventable. Now, a health system that really prioritizes on effective, proven healthcare interventions, including medicines, not as a cost to be minimized, but as simultaneously stimulates curiosity and interest in science, especially in biology and biotechnology. Young people. And the Amgen Foundation deeply believes in this. And that's why our foundation is supporting educational programs that seek to inspire young people everywhere, including in India, with a passion for science. The core programs supported by the Amgen, some 25 million people annually around the world. And as Amgen grows its presence in India across this country, one example is Lab Exchange, an online platform developed at Harvard University with funding. It offers customizable online instruction, including powerful laboratory simulations for middle school through college-level learners everywhere at no cost. Lab Exchange has already attracted more than 21 million visitors from across India, more than from any other single country in the world. And the Lab Exchange team at Harvard is actively working with partners in India to help science teachers make better use of this platform in their classrooms. Another example of the work of our foundation is the Amgen Scholars Program, which has given more than 5,600 undergraduate students the opportunity to pursue scientific research projects at many of the best research institutions around the world. Here in India, we've had 45 undergraduate Amgen scholars so far, hailing from more than 25 universities across the country. At Amgen, we're in a long life cycle business, and we know that getting a new medicine from bench to bedside can take decades. Science among young people who are today in elementary or high school, we hope to launch the next generation of students on the biomanufacturing engineers or regulatory experts across our industry who in future years can get those medicines across the finish line and into the hands of patients. And speaking of the future, I believe there is much we can celebrate and get excited about as we contemplate the many new cures and dramatic advances in technology are already making a big difference in our ability to improve human health and serve many more patients. And many of the technologies enabling this are taking place right here in Hyderabad. Amgen's delighted to be part of this region's growing biotechnology and technology ecosystem, and we intend to build a meaningful presence here to leverage our global commitment to innovation and serving patients. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for all your invaluable insights. Your expertise continues to inspire and guide. Request you to please step forward, sir, and I will request Mr. Tanmay Krishna, Associate VP, Telangana Life Sciences, to please present a token of appreciation and a thank you note to Mr. to our first keynote speaker for BioAsia 2020. And now, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to our second keynote address of the day. I'm sure that you will not want to miss this. It is our privilege. Executive Director of PRECISE Singapore, Senior Vice Dean at Duke MUS Genome Institute of Singapore. And of course, today he is also the recipient of 2025. So I humbly request, sir, take it over.
Thanks to everybody for the award. And I have very, very good news for all of you. I've been asked to keep my talk to 12 minutes. And so I will start my clock here. I'm going to go through the slides. Any questions after the presentation? But what I'd like to do today is to take you on a journey that this little country of to as the little red dot is trying to do in thinking about how we can prosecute precision medicine in a way that adds value to the country, value for research, value for improving healthcare, and it's a small country, but we hope some of these things, if they can be scaled in India, I think will represent vast potential. But even though Singapore is a small country, it has many problems that we have in Singapore is that everybody is growing older, and we are getting more sick people. There's more demand for healthcare services. The therapies are becoming very expensive. Think about how can we cope with this increasing demand on healthcare spending, yet still preserving good quality of healthcare. And for the purposes of this, as highlighted by the Amgen CEO, the direction is to take a significant bet in transforming our healthcare from focusing on treating sick people and moving it to keeping people well. And this is a national program called Healthier SG. Now, the idea here is to be able to implement processes where we can predict who will get sick, what they will get, and intervene early. Now, if you think about this mission, then the idea of incorporating the genome or genetic information is part of the journey on how do we incorporate and use genetics as part of our healthcare record. And so the program that I lead in Singapore, it's called the National Precision Medicine Program. The organization is called Precise, has three very simple ideas. The first one is to be able to collect genetic information about Asian populations. And as you can see on your right hand or your left hand side, it's very, very unavailable in public databases. Singapore is one of those few countries where we have combinations of Chinese, Malays, as well as Indians from the South Asian continent, not complete in India, but we think there's a great opportunity there. But in addition to genetic data, we want to be able to incorporate lifestyle data, medical data, so we can use AI and machine learning to be able to predict who will get sick. And so the program that we have has three main focus areas. How do we use genetics combined with other data to predict who will get sick with disease? Secondly, once we can predict what are the right interventions or medical treatments that we need to do in order to treat them well, but yet keep the cost affordable. And finally, as a national program, how then do we use the right policies, the protections, insurance, legal protections to make sure that people can embrace this information for their health benefit without fear of being discriminated against. In order to do this, we have a three-phase program that I don't have enough time to go into, but we're focusing, I'm going to talk a bit about phase 2 and what we're trying to do in phase 3. In phase 2, we realized that if you want to understand the early risk factors for, I'm going to go ahead here, for identifying who will get sick, what you need to establish is a healthy cohort that represents the population you're trying to study. And so once you have that, you can monitor the cohort over time and identify who gets sick and who gets well and what were the interventions. Now the problem with this idea is threefold. The first fold is that the patients or subjects you recruit must be more or less the same as the population you're trying to predict. The second one is that these cohorts need to be fairly large in size because you are now able to have statistical power to find associations. The third one is that because you don't know who will fall sick with what, you need to collect a lot of information up front. And there aren't that many cohorts like this in Asia. You may have heard about cohorts like the UK Biobank and FinGen, but those are largely representative of Western populations. Not so big, but sufficiently powered, called SG100K. It's 100,000 consented individuals, and every individual that is signed up on Healthy, they then get put through a 5-hour phenotypic mission, diet, heart pressure, and so on and so forth. And then we also sequence all of them at whole gene, recruitment rate of 97,000. The final participant is scheduled to arrive in the middle of April, and sequencing will the lifestyle information. This gives us the genetic information, and because every Singaporean has a national identifier, we can then link them up to national electronic health records such that when each individual falls sick and presents in any clinic in Singapore, we get a readout of what they were diagnosed with, what they were treated with, and what their lab measurements are. And this is an example of some of the early data that's coming out from the first 50,000. So that gives you the so-called holy trinity of your genetics, your lifestyle, and your clinical outcome data. We're now enhancing this by looking at environmental data, because in climate change that's going to be very important, urban design, and things like educational status. So this will be something that will open to the Asian community for scientists to be able to look at and to explore. And there's an awful lot of new insights that can find. This is just one example of what we call a genome-wide association study. And this is to high cholesterol, which is a very, very well-studied feature in the West. Drug targets, and all of the red ones are new ones that haven't been seen before. I think that if India did this, you would find there would be a huge number of redheads, each of which is a potential new drug target. I'll just highlight that on your left-hand side, that's where PSCK9 is, that was highlighted by the Amgen CEO. So this is very, very important for identifying new factors for disease. And if we study our genomes, we think we can actually find many, many new drugs for Asians. The next question we have is, after we make all the discoveries and we find these new targets and these new biomarkers, this will result in good patents, this will result in good IP, maybe companies, but how do we bring this information back towards the patient on the street? And so, besides the SG100 case study, we also focus upon thinking about how do we develop clinical care pathways where these individuals with the bad genetics, they can be managed, recruited, genetically counseled in a care pathway that's ultimately cost affordable when we do the health economic analysis. One of these is a high cholesterol condition called familial hypercholesterolemia. It is an inherited disease. It starts from young. If you're not treated with a low-cost statin, you will get a lethal heart attack by the time you're age 50. And so this was one of the use cases that we worked with the Ministry of Health, and this will be scaled nationwide for the management of familial hypercholesterolemia. That we move from a prototype towards national scale implementation in 2025. And we hope that as more discoveries come out from SG100K, this will also come online. I'm going to finish my presentation today about talking about how this sort of work can capture value for the economy. Because I've talked about research, that's SG100K, I've talked about innovation, healthcare information, how do you develop care pathways that keep people well, and finally, how do you develop value for the economy? And there are many different companies that are very interested in participating in this precision medicine workspace. At the bottom are the so-called platform companies, the sequencing companies, the mass spec companies that do proteomics, the IT companies that do artificial intelligence, cloud-based providers harnessing the data. And so then we have a playbook on how we can engage these companies and bring them to Singapore. And I think that many companies in India may also be interested in doing joint ventures with us in order to develop this platform. On the sequencing front, we've partnered with a company called Illumina, but as part of that, they're increasing their footprint in Singapore to do research on AI and machine learning. In the area of the big pharma companies, we are signing up pharmaceutical companies that will co-invest into the program and do joint collaborative research so we can identify new drug targets. And finally, in terms of the top, but we want to use this to catalyze our own companies, our own made in Asia companies, so we're partnering with venture capital firms. And I think this is where we actually need a lot of help from Hyderabad, because to be very frank, Singaporeans are not that entrepreneurial. And I think that partnering with all of you, I think that this would be a great effort. Here's one example of where a diagnostic for inherited genetic disease came online, and now this is being rolled out to screen families that maybe want to have a child, and they want to know if that particular child will have the inherited condition or not. This is being rolled out to 40,000 families in Singapore. I'm going to end my talk by talking about the future. So phase 2, the 100,000 will be done in June. And as I've said, this is a model of the Singapore population. We've just been approved to do phase 3 of the program, where we will target another 10% of the entire Singapore population. And here we will focus not on the healthy population, but on the population that's receiving treatment and medical attention. So these will be a different population. And using that, we will be able to look at a variety of new questions, patterns of disease progression, side effects to therapies, and some of these more very important serious conditions that may not be as abundantly reflected when you study a population cohort, like pulmonary fibrosis, respiratory disease, and so on. So at a 12-minute mark, I want to thank you for your attention, and I hope in 5 years' time to come back and to let you know how we did with phase 3. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I just request you to stay here for please. Thank you so much, Professor. First of all, for your presentation, second, to stick on time. So thank you very much. And I would also like to invite Dr. Purav Gandhi, the founder and CEO of Health Art, to please present a token of appreciation to Professor Patrick Tan. Thank you very much, sir. Your contribution continue to drive innovation in healthcare. You're a true inspiration. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Professor Patrick Tan. Thank you. As we continue this exciting journey at BioAsia 2025, and we begin our first panel discussion of the day, before which I would like to invite on stage Ms. Roslyn Bates, MP for Finance, Trade, Employment, Training, Queensland, to please join me on stage for her remarks. Of course, a round of applause will be wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Thank you. This morning I have the great pleasure as Queensland's Minister for Finance, Trade, Employment and Training to showcase Queensland's world-leading health innovations being exhibited at this region's premier global health tech and life science event. At the outset, I'd like to thank Minister Reddy and Minister Babu, who I have just met, and your fellow Telangana officials for a warm welcome you have given our Queensland delegation to BioAsia 2025. Our mission here is to let India know that Queensland is open for business, and we have world-class products and services that India wants and needs. I am proud that the Queensland Government, through Trade and Investment Queensland, is a global sponsor of BioAsia 2025. 20 Queensland delegates representing 10 and some of our best research institutions. Queensland's life sciences sector is thriving. For example, recent Queensland health initiatives include the development of the life-saving Gardasil vaccine by the University of Queensland, which has prevented cervical cancer worldwide, including in India. And it's fantastic that 3 of Queensland's major tertiary research institutes are here. The University of Queensland's Australian Institute for Bioengineering and Nanotechnology, Griffith University's Clinical Trials Centre and the University of Southern Queensland are all here to meet with key Indian partners and stakeholders. Key Queensland exporters to the region in the health and life sciences sector, such as Vaxis, Resolene, Bioanalytics, SATI-ME Consulting are all exhibiting here. India's pharmaceutical sector, projected to reach $130 billion by 2030, presents significant collaboration and demand from India for Queensland's health products, life sciences and services has experienced tremendous recent growth in the past 12 months alone. And it's a pleasure to be here on behalf of Premier David Crisafulli, the Premier of Queensland, and for me personally it's great to be here at BioAsia. For those of you who don't know, I'm still a registered nurse. I've run hospitals, but I also have a biotech background. I worked as a clinical science associate for Genzyme for about 10 years. So I'm very used to bio conferences and all of the amazing life sciences work that you do. And I hope that I'll be able to bring that experience into this role, representing Queensland on the global stage for research and development, trade and investment. India also remains the second largest source market for enrolments as of September 2024. And I'm also the Minister for Employment and Training, so that is of great interest. And we would like to assist your country to make sure that we have some of your best skilled workers coming to Queensland, sharing your expertise and an opportunity for us to learn not only from you but to take back some of our learnings to India. I'm really pleased to be here and it's been a wonderful visit. It's been my first visit to India and I thank the the very warm welcome that you've given myself and my team. And we have much to discuss, and so on that note, I look forward to your afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now, without much ado, please join me in this for our first panel discussion on one of the most transformative forces in healthcare, and I may call it artificial intelligence. To guide this discussion, we are honored to have with us, I think we'll take a few moments here. Yes, thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the moderator for this session, Mr. Chaitanya, the partner, Ernst & Young UK. Can we please have you this session? Dr. Ken Washington, CTO, Medtronics USA, India. I'd also like to welcome Mr. Shyam Bishan, Head Center of Health and Healthcare, WEF Switzerland. Dr. Olga, President, Image Analysis Group, UK. In Silico Medicine, Switzerland. As we have our moderator and our panelists joined, and on the stage, I will take this opportunity to even unveil the Thought Leadership Report, ladies and gentlemen. The Thought Leadership Report by Ernst & Young, titled Artificial Intelligence at the Helm, Revolutionizing Life Sciences Sector. And to do the honors, I humbly request Sri Jay, Special Chief Secretary, Department of Industries and Commerce, Government of Telangana, to please join us on stage. Sir, can we have you on stage, sir, to do the honors, along with Mr. Ashish Nanda, Partner and CHS Market Leader, Ernst & Young, Ernst & Young, Ms. Paridhi Gupta, Vice President Markets, Ernst & Young, Ms. Rajni Savannah, Associate Director, Ernst & Young. So can we have you all on stage to unveil the Thought Leadership Report by Intelligence at the Helm, Revolutionizing Life Sciences Sector. Ready to do the honors. I think this is the moment. Thank you very much, Jay. And of course, I think now I give the stage to Mr. Chaitanya.
I just want to mention that this report is co-authored by EY and Microsoft. Just to mention here, this report has been co-authored by EY and Microsoft. So Microsoft didn't get the mention, so just wanted to make that clear. Thank you.
All right, so Mr. Chaitanya, over to you.
Excellent. Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to all of you. This is our first of the many panel sessions that you're going to witness this today and tomorrow. Our session today will be focusing on the transformation potential of AI in life sciences and healthcare. And by way of introduction, I am Chaitanya Royru. I am a partner in EY Partnering based in London, and I advise our corporates and private equity clients on their AI and GenAI journey. Now you can see we have a distinguished set of panels here, and before we get started, I'd like to invite Ken to share his insights of of AI in MedTech. And just as an introduction, Ken is Chief Technology and Innovation Officer at Medtronic. Ken, over to you.
I'd like to offer a few remarks about how we're thinking about artificial intelligence to transform healthcare at Medtronic. Last year, our chairman and CEO, Jeff Martha, delivered remarks on this same stage at BioAsia 2024. And he talked about our triple aim, which is enhancing products, building partnerships, and creating ecosystems. Since last year, we've taken this to We're innovating for insights, we're empowering practitioners to deliver greater insights and more informed patient care. And most importantly, we're taking AI ecosystems, implementing them responsibly and equitably to deliver better patient outcomes. What this means for patients is AI-enabled health tech products to create better outcomes and enhanced care. So how are we leveraging AI at Medtronic? We're doing this in two ways. I'm going to let my slides catch up with me here. We're doing this in two ways. First, we're giving the power of AI technology teams to empower all of our employees with AI tools to boost their own personal productivity, but also to automate many of our processes. Examples of this are common tools that are being democratized now in all companies, like tools like Microsoft Copilot and our version of ChatGPT that we call Medtronic GPT. We're also putting intelligence into our device, clinical decision support and therapeutic interventions that are providing next level, more precise to our patients. I'm often asked, how are we going about this organizationally? Because AI needs, and the bottom line here is AI needs to be organized internally around what we call an AI Center of Excellence that's connected to the spokes in every aspect of our business. And this includes elements to upskill literacy programs, training programs, toolkits, common practices, and more. Our strategy around AI is around automation, clinical innovation, and industry disruption. Last year, Jeff talked about technologies like our GI Genius, an AI element to providing colonoscopies that more than 50% potentially cancerous polyps in a colonoscopy. We've gone beyond that in providing up to 5 new AI-enabled therapies in our portfolio. These are FDA-approved medical devices that include technologies such as our Link device, which is an insertable cardiac implantable monitor that monitors patients with arrhythmias in real time, and the AI rejects potentially false positives, saving time and improving accuracy. We also have AI algorithms integrated into our pulse oximetry tool that provides highly accurate pulse oximetry capabilities for people of any skin tone. Together, care across the world. But we're taking this to the next level, and we're doing that through enabling all of our operating units and all of our therapies to beneath all AI products, and that's data. Data is the fuel that powers artificial intelligence, as I think all of you know. The governance, the research, the data, the annotation and labeling required to harness the power of data to build AI tools is not AI AI solution. So we've created a platform to allow all of our therapies to use a common data set and a common set of libraries. The reason this is important for us, that can then be used to train AI models. This will allow us to provide critical care across a started with the 5 that I mentioned that are already FDA approved. If you look across our wide portfolio of products, we touch more than 70 conditions in the human body. To provide better patient outcomes. As we think about this, we are guided by our commitment in a responsible and an ethical way, using what we call our AI compass. All of these things that I spoke about, personalized healthcare, it sounds like science fiction, but we know that today that the pieces are in place for this to be science and medtech fact. With our mission as our North Star, we're marching very intentionally toward this vision to alleviate pain, restore health, and extend life in a different way that's more powerful and creates better patient outcomes for all. Thanks, and I look forward to participating on the panel as we dig into this more deeply. So now I'll bring back to the microphone our moderator.
No, you can come back. Yeah, we'll start from here. Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Ken. Indeed, we are living in a fascinating AI revolutionary world wherein AI is influencing industries and functions across all walks of life, right from the way we communicate, we eat, live, walk, or even travel. And my personal favorite is, just like we have autonomous vehicles right now in several parts of the world, very soon in the UK, in the next 5 years perhaps, we might get autonomous flying taxis. That'll be cool, right? So coming back to the topic of life sciences and healthcare, AI and the transformation potential could have a profound impact. Now consider this. Traditional drug development from discovery through to commercial launch ideally would have taken 10 plus years, maybe $1 to $1.2 billion. And AI has a promise to cut down both the time and cost by up to 50% or more. And similarly, in healthcare, found. Imagine for a second, all of you, each one of us could potentially have replica with our DNA, and that could help us not only diagnose and cure, but also predict and prevent future illnesses through precision medicine and personalized healthcare. That would be game-changing, isn't it? Look, as with any new technology, every promise comes with its own challenges, and AI is no different. So there are challenges with regards to safety of patient data, quality of data, and sometimes lack of data that Professor Tan touched upon. And we will, aim to touch upon all those topics through our distinguished panel. So I'm incredibly delighted and privileged to be joined by such distinguished panel. They are experts right from policy makers through to corporate and startup world. And it'll be great for us to hear from their first-hand experience of leveraging AI. So what do we have today in store for you? So we've got around 4 to 5 themes we want to cover. So we'll start with the promise and value of AI. Then we'll touch upon how do you convert that promise to reality? And along that journey, what are some of the challenges, watch-outs, and get-rights you need to get? And time permitting, we'll also explore role of India in this evolution, as well as we'll aim to take some audience questions as well. I'm conscious we are between you and lunch, so we'll work at pace, so bear with us. So with that context, shall we go through a quick round of intro from the panelists so that you know who's who? I think, Ken, you've already introduced yourself.
Yes.
So Dr. Reddy?
Yeah, I'm Dr. Nageshwar Reddy. I'm a chairman of AIG Hospitals. I'm also a gastroenterologist, a doctor who deals with the gastrointestinal tract.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Olga Kubasova. I am a founder and president of Image Analysis Group, company that specializes in imaging in clinical. My background.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the invitation. Good to be here with all of you. I'm a medical doctor by background. I started working
at the World Economic Forum, based out of Geneva and New York. I will talk a little bit more during the session.
Forum, etc. So what areas across the value chain?
Transformation initiative at the World Economic Forum, which is again an initiative that has stakeholders from large pharmaceuticals, better outcome, better efficiencies for our health systems, how it can create better economic value for all of us, and we do see that there's a huge potential in the ND process to bring a drug to market from discovery to approval is taking 10 to 15 years. The cost how can we use AI to accelerate clinical development? How can we use AI to create better trials? We use AI on the decentralized clinical trial side. Those are some of the areas we are looking, because we do think that we need to move away from the current way that we do clinical trials and make it more decentralized, make it more digitalized. So that's an area of focus for us. We did launch a report last year, R&D value chain is the regulatory submission. As you know, regulatory submission is still a very tedious process, especially to FDA, EMA, stringent regulatory authorities. Of documents, it takes a lot of time, and we believe that AI has the potential to accelerate that, to shrink that time. In the interest of time, Chaitanya, let me stop here and we can move on to the next question.
Sounds good. Thanks, Shyam. And just for the audience, Shyam may have to leave halfway through to catch his flight, so please excuse us. Right, so then coming to you, Dr. Reddy, given your incredible journey of transforming gastroenterology and the healthcare services here, where and how have you seen AI being leveraged of healthcare in India? Could you give us some examples?
So what I'll do is I'll be very practical of what we are using right now in a hospital and in this field. AI in healthcare is basically used for three areas: diagnostics, therapeutics, and third, to improve hospital efficiency. Diagnostics, now, for example, genius tells me that there's a polyp there, what type of polyp it is, whether it should be removed or left alone, and so on. It has definitely increased our cancer, for example. Now, we look at an X-ray and we think it's normal, but the AI says, look, there's a small cancer you're missing. And when we actually look at it very carefully, so these are the diagnostic areas where AI is making a huge difference. Therapeutic, now in all our theaters we have AI incorporated into operation theaters systems. So when I'm operating on a patient and there's a risky operation, there's a blood vessel I can't see, but AI is already on other imaging systems. And AI keeps telling me, stupid, don't go towards the blood vessel, go away from that. So I move away and then do the surgery better. So our surgical efficiencies have dramatically increased when we incorporated AI into our systems. And thirdly, hospital efficiency. Hospital efficiency has increased, and I'll tell you two examples of what we have done and what is being done all over the world. Is we've actually made a system called iSave. For example, in our hospital there are all are sick patients. Some of them suddenly crash, develop a cardiac arrest, and so we have what is called the code blue, which is announced throughout, and only 50% of these patients can be revived. In the hospital, when you have a code blue, many of these patients are dying. So we actually, delay of about 5 is reached. The iSave warns us that this patient is likely to go into cardiac arrest in the next few minutes or hours, and with large number of patients with this. The second example that we have created, AI, NLP, natural language processing, were used, where normally what happens is a doctor and the patient are talking to each other. Unfortunately, the practice of modern medicine is dependent so much on electronic medical records and so on. If I spend 20 minutes with the patient, 18 minutes I'm spending on the computer typing out the patient's data and so on. Only 2 minutes I'm looking at the patient. Now we know from everything that the patient wants us to see him, feel him, talk to him, looking eye to eye. But we can't do this because of but medical records are also important. The old way of practicing medicine changed in recently, and one of the reasons for burnout of doctors all over the world is because they're spending so much time with medical records talking to the computer rather than the patient. So what we decided to do is we should stop this. Let's practice the medicine the way it should be practiced. So we created this PRISM. A PRISM is a system where we talk to the patient, and as we are talking to the patient, everything gets recorded by computer. I don't see the computer at all, and at the end of the interview, everything comes in a segmented form: present history, past history, family history, and so on. And ultimately, I get a printout of everything I've done into the electronic medical records, and not a single movement, all the 20 minutes I'm spending with the patient. And we find with this that the patient satisfaction has improved remarkably, and many of them are happy. And the other important thing of this software is that any gossip with the patient doesn't get fed in, only the medical records get in. So therefore, we find that this is a very important way. So these are examples of, there are many, many more, but these are the examples of what we're doing with AI in healthcare right now.
Brilliant. I think some real-life examples to bring it to life. Excellent. So I guess from one game-changing field to another, Ricardo, if I could come to you, I think you're breaking new ground with regards to drug discovery in silico medicine. So could you walk us through and elaborate, how you have integrated AI into this drug discovery space, and how are you leveraging it in silico medicine?
Sure. Thanks for the question. So, In Silico was founded in 2014. The first set of years were really focused on the algorithms and generative adversarial networks. We have since then created a generative AI platform for multimodal, multi-industry, multi-domain learning. So we have, of course, a lot of applications within the drug discovery, but not exclusively, as well as we're also exploring areas such as sustainable agriculture, new energy chemistry, lubricants, and so on. But now coming back to the life science, we have mainly used AI for early drug discovery. So our use cases are spanning across biology, chemistry for new small molecule design and optimization, and also to some degree clinical development, although it's a tough cookie to crack. We have basically platforms working on disease modeling and target discovery overall, where we have more than 60 target discovery philosophies and 25 AI models in place. So our use base, customer use base, is currently big pharma, but also biotechnology companies and academia as well. We have Chemistry 42, which has currently more than 40 generative models and more than 500 predictive models, with a lot of the companies also using that software in place. And additionally, we have also launched last year generative biologics and also a multi-agent, multimodal AI scientist, research assistant, and research paper drafter as well. Now, the last application that we usually use is trying to predict the probability of clinical, technical, and regulatory success between the transition of trials from phase 2 to phase 3. And we have used these same platforms to start shaping the company not only into a technology company, but also into a tech bio or biotech company. So we started doing our own drug discovery around 2019. Since then, we have already nominated 20 preclinical candidate molecules, and 10 of them have already received IND approval. We have our current lead program is for IPF, for a novel target for fibrosis, lung fibrosis, which there's a great unmet need, which we believe could be very promising. We have read out already a phase 2A trial in China. We're running a parallel one currently in the US, and we're actively planning the phase 2B/3 trial for that asset as well, along with other candidates that are already in phase 1. Some we are fully developing ourselves for now, out-licensed to other partners to maximize the potential to reach the clinic and reaching patients, and many others in preclinical candidate stage across oncology, immunology, inflammation, fibrosis, and CNS. So I'll just stop here. Thank you.
Super. In fact, I remember a year ago or so when I started delving into use cases, in silico medicine was the first one that I bumped into. Some fascinating work. Right. So we touched upon promise at length. Now let's think about what does it take to turn it into reality. So Olga, if I could come to you. Now you have turned this promise to reality at IAG. So what were the specific use cases you focused on, and how did you set yourself up for success?
Thank you for the question. Hopefully you can hear me okay. So before the drug goes to the hospital and becomes a useful asset to a doctor and a life-saving mechanism for a patient, and straight after it's discovered with AI or by any other means, there is a whole world of clinical development. And clinical development is where majority of drugs fail, as we all know. If you think about clinical development and AI, you can really separate AI into three different categories. One, to do with operational efficiencies. If we automate labor-intense processes to deliver data or gather data or quality control data, that would be probably a low-hanging fruit, and it's also AI within automation. Second category would be to take data that we generate during clinical development and look into this data using more sophisticated tools. So effectively, by having the same data but better tools, we can get deeper insights, we can make predictive decisions, and we can also potentially discover efficacy or safety components of a drug much earlier. And I'd say this is kind of a second category of AI. The third one, which is much more sophisticated, is when we have to make decisions using big data. So data from a cohort of patients, or data from several cohorts of patients, or multi-country data, and we want to extract certain analytics. I think in our world of medical imaging, so my world, we very often focus on a second category AI. So here is my image, let's say an MRI scan or CT scan, and I can automatically recognize something, a tumor, a tissue, volume of fat or volume of muscle for GLP-1 drugs. And that's, to me, when I was building a company, is sort of like a little hook. And to deliver that hook efficiently to the world, you have to build a bathroom around the hook and the whole house. And then it's starting to shine and starting to make sense. So any AI tool which we have today has to have infrastructure. It can't just survive on its own because it always will remain either a lab or an academic tool or somebody's imagination. So at Image Analysis Group at IAG, I have started by having that one shiny moment. We had an amazing methodology to recognize inflammatory activity in the MRI scans. It was done at the time of Humira, one of the largest and most successful drugs for inflammation, anti-inflammatory drugs. So we came in the right time with the right algorithm to quantify inflammation. However, an algorithm alone, just one methodology, would probably never make it into a company. So to make it into a company, our team created a software platform called Dynamica, and that software platform allowed us to gather imaging data, like MRI scans or CT scans, X-ray, from around the world. We recognized that at the time, prior to cloud, people were sending CDs to each other, and CDs would get to a central location, and somebody would review them, and then make a conclusion. So we were the first company to put cloud-based infrastructure for imaging in clinical trials, which of course was many years ago. Now we don't need to explain to everybody why cloud is better than sending CDs to each other. Now we have to explain why AI is better than perhaps some of the subjective scorings, but that time still to come. We created infrastructure, and we put on top of that infrastructure our own methodology, which was the inflammatory quantification. And then around it, we built a possibility to collaborate with other companies. For instance, in gastroenterology, colonoscopy, histology, and clinical outcomes all form a clinical judgment. But having AI in colonoscopy alone, of course, would not be enough. You need to have histology AI as well. One company would struggle to invent colonoscopy AI and histology AI and connect it to clinical outcomes. So you really, even for the imaging part of this for gastroenterological exam, you need to have 3 types of AI: histology, colonoscopy, patient outcomes. And to make sense out of diseases, out of indications, we really need to power ourselves with technology platforms that allow us to bring innovation into a very usable and very practical way, so it could be delivered back to the hospitals and to the patients. And that's what we're doing at IAG. We're building platform, we're creating teams which work in clinical trials, and we're constantly looking for novel, more interesting methodologies to enhance our own proposition to pharmaceutical and biotech clients, as well as to academic institutions.
Super. And I bet there'll be more collaborations here for you, Olga. Excellent. Shyam, so I'm conscious, I think you may have to leave, so I'll ask you a quick one, and then, we could excuse you. So from a macro perspective, to make this real tangible, what are your views on how could and should AI be used to achieve equitable access to medicine and healthcare as a universal healthcare you talk about? So if you could share your views.
Yes, thanks, Chaitanya. As I mentioned earlier, access is a serious problem. Universal health coverage, it's an SDG goal by UN, as you know. We are supposed to achieve this universal health coverage goal by 2030. We reviewed it last year during the UN General Assembly time. We are nowhere close to it. So it's a serious challenge. According to WHO, about 4.5 billion people, which is a little more than half the people in the world, don't have access to good health care. So it's a serious challenge. We need to see how AI can help us solve for this challenge. Basically, the problem is supply and demand. The supply on the healthcare side is very constrained. Good quality healthcare supply is very constrained around the world, especially in low and middle income countries. But the demand is unconstrained. You have huge demand coming from all sides. If you look at how we define universal health coverage, it's basically access to good quality health coverage, being able to afford it without going bankrupt, without going through the financial hardship. So how do we use AI to do that, to create better access? That's the challenge that we are all trying to attack, and trying to make sure that we come up with some good solutions. We do believe that AI has the potential, from the World Economic Forum, the work that we are doing on the digital healthcare transformation side, that we can help in I mentioned 3 areas: access, outcome, and efficiency. On the access side, certainly there is a huge opportunity here. We can, I mentioned about the demand. The demand is huge. Supply we need to fix, so the demand is there. How do we fix the supply? Either we put in more money, more funding to create more supply, more health systems, more hospitals, more clinics, or we come up with something, which is a new innovation like AI to solve for that, so that we can create better efficiency. We can create, cost-effective methods here. We can create, we can take advantage of things like telemedicine, which we saw is a kind of preview of that during COVID. How telemedicine and digital health was used, how we use decentralized clinical trials, how can we use AI to accelerate that? That's what we are looking at. Actually, just last month we launched a report in Davos during our annual meeting in Davos, Switzerland. It's called AI-enabled health, AI-enabled future of health and healthcare. If you haven't read it, it's freely available on our website, on the Center for Health and Healthcare page, and you can look at that. We highlighted 4 areas here. How do we make sure that people have access to health and healthcare? What are the 4 key areas that we should target? The first one is paradigm to shift to well-being, so that we move a little bit from healthcare, from sick care to true healthcare. We are looking at prevention, we are looking at well-being. And with AI, with wearables and other programs using AI, I think we can accelerate that. We can come up with better programs on the prevention side. We also believe, now that more and more people have access to internet, more and more people have access to smartphones. Obviously, it's not 100%, but I think it's getting there. We are fixing infrastructure around the world as global community on the digital health side, on the digital side. We can all become doctors. There is a potential that all 8 billion people on the planet will have medical advice. They will have medical advice and support readily available through their devices. And that will obviously accelerate access. That will obviously accelerate coverage. The other one I mentioned was operational excellence. We do believe that AI has the potential to create much better operational excellence, much better efficiency. And the final one was our focus on health leapfrog. We saw, especially for low and middle income countries, there is an opportunity to leapfrog what we saw with telecommunications, we saw on the financial side. Even here in India, we use Paytm and other technologies on the financial side. Telecom also, we went without having a landline phone directly to smartphones. Most people made that change. We believe there is an opportunity here for LMICs, for low and middle income countries to do the same, to move from the regular way of doing business on the healthcare side and improve our health system, where we are looking at a complete leapfrog here. And that's what we need to think about. We need to think about transformational change through AI. It's not incremental. If you look at, if we take the example of light bulb. Light bulb was not invented by improving candles. Most people were quite happy with candles, but somebody has to come and think about the transformational innovation change here, and I believe AI has that opportunity to provide that change and to provide that transformational way of looking at health and healthcare. One last point I would like to make, Chaitanya, and as you said, I believe, is we believe that India is poised to lead the world. We launched a report just a couple of weeks ago saying that India could be a global pathfinder here. I think with your digital infrastructure, Ayushman Bharat digital mission, Ayushman Bharat health accounts, we had COVID during COVID. I think you are poised to use AI here. You have a good infrastructure. Obviously nothing is perfect. It needs to be further improved. But with the talent, with the health data that you have, access to health data here in this country, with the talent that you have both on the medical side, on the pharmaceutical side, on the overall healthcare side, as well as the health data, I think India is poised to lead the world on the AI side. And especially looking at countries and regions in Africa and Southeast Asia, they have a lot to learn from India here. So all the best to further discussions here, and we wish you all a very good BioAsia, rest of the BioAsia here. Thank you.
Excellent. Very good. Thanks, Shyam. Couldn't agree more with the change, with the transformational impact of AI. And talking about change, so change is never easy, is it? There is resistance, there's fear, there is inertia. So Ken, if I could come to you, now, given your experience of implementing AI and big use cases in Medtronic, the ones that you talked about, what's your advice to companies who are on the fence and they want to get started? How should they go about scaling and embracing AI at an enterprise level?
Thanks for the question. This is such an important question because AI is on everyone's mind, and scaling AI is going to require a strategy at a company. My advice would be to not allow, don't just assume that a strategy is going to naturally happen in the various pockets and distributed locations in your company. Develop an organized framework for how you want to deploy and accelerate the integration of AI into your products, into your practices. How will you actually create new skills on your technical teams? How will you upskill your current employees? How will you train your clinicians and your researchers and your software engineers to be equipped to take this on. At Medtronic, we did this by creating an AI Center of Excellence, as I mentioned in my opening remarks. But this AI Center of Excellence was just the beginning. We use that as an enabler for other areas in our company in all 15 of our operating units organized in our 4 portfolios to all have a part in the strategy. And we motivated them by giving them these frameworks and tools upon which they could build new capabilities. This is how we were able to accelerate the development of new technologies that we're very quickly bringing to our customers. For example, here in India, we're partnering with Cure.ai to bring the power of AI to stroke treatment, to be able to use AI to detect and act on potential strokes in patients more quickly and more effectively, because time is everything when it comes to treating stroke patients. That wouldn't have been possible if we hadn't had a platform and a framework for enabling AI solutions to be quickly built and quickly deployed and leveraged in various areas in the company. And then the last thing I'll say about the experiences we've had in scaling and applying AI in a company of our size and complexity is that you need to have a framework and a strategy for ensuring that AI is adopted and used in a responsible and ethically appropriate way. And I would encourage anyone thinking about accelerating their AI journey to be very explicit about that. You know, we call it our AI compass, where we ensure that there's beneficial use. There's a strategy around ensuring that we have adherence to all local and federal and regional rules and laws and regulations. We apply best practices around privacy and security. We ensure that there's transparency associated with the data. And last but not least is we've taken the mindset of AI being a force multiplier for human performance, not a replacement of human performance. I remember all too well the hype in the early days of the autonomous vehicle revolution in the auto sector. I was an executive in the auto industry at the time, and we all fell trapped to the promise of the hype, without realizing that the real promise of AI and automation and advanced tech in that industry was making drivers better drivers and preventing accidents and making our cars smarter cars. Sure, there are fully self-autonomous vehicles on the market today, but the vast majority of vehicles on the market today are not autonomous, but they're semi-autonomous. The same thing is happening in healthcare. Doctors that use AI are really better doctors, and they're providing better care and better health care. And so this was baked into our AI compass. And so my guidance to scale is to develop your own framework and use it extensively and deploy it across your company. It'll unlock all kinds of potential and applying AI in the right way.
Well, great tips. Excellent. Now that we talk about startup and scale up, so Olga, what would your guidance be to folks on this journey, especially in the startup world?
Sure, I think Ken said it very well. So there needs to be a structure. Doesn't matter if you're Medtronic or somebody smaller, you have to have some sort of rules and procedures for responsible use of AI. So while you should internally have a lot of processes, infrastructure, and confidence, it also comes down to educating your customers why this solution is better. Real challenge, because if you're dealing with larger corporations, pharmaceutical organizations, for instance, risk tolerance is very low. Now you're saying that there will be an AI component which is kind of validated to 70-degree confidence, 70% confidence. It's never good enough. It's never good enough. Like 99, never good enough. So you really need to find a way to explain business, for those of us who building and running businesses, why AI benefits customer. I mean, take one out, maybe two is good. So you need to make your AI really work for the customer. Point couple maybe for your specific case studies. We collaborated. They have a very interesting drug called Intivir, which induces mucosal inflammation, inflammation reduction, so mucosal healing. And healing of inflammation is only visible in histology images. But there are not enough pathologists out there in the world who are having time and qualified to read those slides, pathology slides. They all train to do oncology very well, but those are very challenging. So our partnership is around building AI tool which sits on a very reliable infrastructure that allows us, through the infrastructure, collect pathology slides from around the world, anywhere. The sites could be located everywhere and anywhere. Bring those slides on the cloud, do the AI analysis of cell types, recognize the cell types, build a scoring system which tells you if there is mucosal healing or not. And then, if needed, also bring an expert pathologist to verify those results and give them back to the sites. What's interesting in this collaboration, because we're dealing with worldwide sites, in Brazil, they have a problem of lack of pathologists. In India, there are too many patients because there are a lot of gastroenterological issues, and gastroenterology goes into oncology as well as GI tract. So it's very complex patients. In European countries, you have a lot of pathologists, but they're willing to do something at very high cost. You would have a different issue. As a pharma sponsor, you would have to address those issues. You want a drug to be understood by the community. That ultimate customers, doctors, hospitals understand. If you can build in your mind a way of bringing your customer on your journey for deployment of AI, preferably early enough, so that you can get maximum benefit at the end, I think it creates business case, which then will lead to building infrastructure which is usable and adequate for the case, because you can also overbuild this infrastructure. And then your business as a business will be very successful. I'm sure AI as part of your business will also be a value add-on and value accelerator, as Ken said.
So now from pharma, if you move to healthcare, Dr. Reddy, given your extensive experience across India, what were some of the barriers that you think are to the AI adoption in India, and what would your advice be, or your steps or recommendations be to address those barriers?
Of course, there are several barriers. The most important barrier is that most of the time in India, we're depending on Western data. We don't have large, good quality data that is there to work on for machine learning. And if we actually take this Western data, a lot of biases and about patients hallucinating, but as an AI guy, I'm now starting to know that machines also can hallucinate. That creates a lot of problem for us. So what we require to do is build good quality Indian data. All amount of data, the quality of data is suspect. So high quality, large data is very important. The second bias is, because of this, many of the senior doctors, health personnel, nursing staff, they are not trusting AI. They say that maybe you're not getting the right information and result in catastrophic results. So AI trust is still not there. So we have to educate our doctors about. For example, a lot of doctors come to me and tell me that AI is going to replace us. What's the point? Shall we? That AI is not going to replace doctors, but doctors who know AI are going to replace doctors who do not use AI. That is going to be the future. So every doctor be informed about AI. But we also have another problem, the other side. I get many patients from the information technology side who come to me with their smartphones. I've Googled, used AI, I know the diagnosis, and also using AI, this is the treatment. So I asked them, why do you come to me then? They say, just to confirm. So, that's a problem. So Google doctors are becoming a problem with us, with AI now. The third thing is cyber security. I think this is a big problem for us. As we get more and more data, cyber security is going to become a huge problem for hospitals. On November 23rd last year, the records of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences were hacked into, breached. About 40 million records were transferred. And you know what? In dark web, each record carries a value of $250 compared to a stolen credit card only $10. So medical records are very valuable, and because of this value we are going to have more and more cyber security problems. So all hospitals and hospital sectors which are going to go into this should actually be very careful and adapt this cyber security methodology, which are expensive, but there's no other go. We'll have to do it, otherwise we're going to face this problem. These are the problems that we face now in health sector.
Yeah, makes sense. And I could so relate to your point about, the Googling of it, because my dad does it. So absolutely with you. Thank you for that. And then Ricardo, just to square off then this topic. So from an in silico medicine point of view, given, you got your own LLM model, pharma.ai, what were some of the challenges that you faced at the initial part of the journey, be it, lack of data or quality of data, or the explainability of outcomes, etc. So could you walk us through some of those challenges and maybe any recommendations for folks on this journey?
Sure. So I think one of the initial bottlenecks that we knew would be crucial to our business model was related with data availability, but also data quality, right? So since the very inception of in silico, we have built an in-house data curation team that goes manually through the data to ensure quality around that. So it's not something that we exclusively just abide by whatever the algorithms are telling us as an outcome. Now, I think on the other side, on the drug discovery and development side, one of the biggest bottlenecks that we found was actually experimental validation, right? So that means we could move to at a lot of speed to reach a specific stage in early drug discovery, but then we needed to do all the experimental validation, ranging from the to the in vivo validation in mice or in other type of animals, depending what kind of drug you're trying to develop. So, and that was, of course, one of the biggest roadblocks that was preventing us to move forward. But I think we were also able to accelerate the synthesis of some molecules as much as possible, and then select which ones were moving into full preclinical development and reaching those necessary milestones the regulators would like, which are usually very traditional in kind, and hence they don't care if it's going to be enabled by AI or not. They're going to see what data package you have, and the data will speak for itself, right? So that was very important for us.
Got it. Yeah. And in fact, I mean, it is fascinating. I think if you guys read about Genesis was about longevity and their partnership with NVIDIA, and I think the company and the team have come a long, long way. Right. So we've covered the key theme that we had in mind. So now moving on to, and perhaps, and not just domestically, but also being an example. And I think as we heard, it could...
that we have massive health data. I mean, 1.4 billion people, and the data that's going to come out from that, the type of diseases that we have, ranging from the traditional ones to more Western ones now. So we have a huge ecosystem. So if we combine both, I think we can produce in AI, at least in healthcare, something which is not only going to power what's going to happen in India, but rest of the world, at least Southeast Asia, which has a similar pattern of disease and so on. The important thing is that we'll have to get good quality data, and that's what I keep emphasizing. Unless we have that, unless we have good data, AI does not mean anything. And if we have this good data, we have strong technology ecosystems, like what Dr. Ken and Dr. Olga said. All these things can be very easily incorporated. We do not have to invest too much money into these systems. I know that United States puts in $500 billion, France puts in $109 billion. We don't have to do that. With just small amount of money, we can actually produce extremely high value systems with this data and technology we have.
Makes sense. And any builds, be it Ken or Olga, Ricardo, to what role could India play going forward? Maybe Ken, you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. I'll pile on the data comment, but I'll maybe add a little twist to it, which is it's not just about the volume and the quality of the data, but it's about the interconnectivity of the data and data access. And today, data access is a huge challenge. If we find a way to solve the challenge of getting access to the data that's available, it'll unlock a tsunami of innovation. Because, and let me explain what I mean by that. If you go to any, pick a hospital system, they'll have massive amounts of data. And then go to the next hospital system, they'll also have massive amounts of data. And then go to the third, and they'll have the same. But those three systems are not interconnected, and you can't, there's no natural way to have access across those three systems if you want to build a model that would actually treat patients at a better level. Finding a solution to that data access and interoperability issue will unlock value. And if we can find a way to do that, then India is in a real, a high opportunity position because of the massive amount of data and the technology innovation that's available in this ecosystem.
Maybe I think it's a very good point that Ken has made, that one of the things we are lacking is interoperability. But this is a big problem because India healthcare system operates in a very independent fashion.
That's right.
We don't have the same HRS, health record systems. EMR systems are totally different, very independent. And we being a democratic country, it's very difficult to impose rules on the hospitals. In the United States, for example, there are only two HIS systems that are available, EMR systems, and very easily, even they find it difficult to integrate. You can imagine the problems. So this is a major challenge, and of course, I don't know how we are going to solve it, but ultimately this will make a difference.
I agree completely.
I can make one more observation on India's strengths. So because India was equipped with relatively later with MRI scanners, for instance, the equipment in the hospitals is top-notch. So it's the latest equipment you have. Probably better sometimes than in European countries. So the data that you're generating is very, very powerful and also of modern quality. So it's not something like an MRI scanner was installed in the 80s and you have strange coils there. You are very much on top. So utilization even of a small quantity of a good quality data could give a great advantage to the country. And it's our observation working with Indian sites. So we run a lot of trials with Indian sites, and education of sites and equipment is very, very good.
Just to add from my end a little observation as well, I think regarding India, I mean, you have already a very prolific ecosystem. I think it's obvious just by witnessing it here in person. And you have also a lot of transferable skills and knowledge, but also the scale, right? So I think that's definitely an important point. And if you want to further transform this industry into within, of course, drug discovery from generic biosimilars and vaccine production to doing your own innovative medicine development, then you need to find ways to kind of propel that forward by creating infrastructures here in place, which I know is already being created, but at the same time looking externally to interesting potential partners and partner for you to propel that innovation and move faster instead of just doing it yourselves. I think it's like an obvious statement, but at the same time, we still see that there's a lot of lack of strategic partnership mindset across the industry, at least in this area.
Yep, makes sense. Great insights. Thank you all. So we're almost towards the end now. So I think this question is for all of you, and it's a rapid fire, very quick one. So if you had one wish for AI, what would that be? So we'll go in order. So Ken, do you want to start it off?
Sure, I'll start it, and I'll start. My one wish is best explained by describing an analogy. The analogy for AI for me that is instructive here is to compare it to what happened with the internet, more than 20 years ago. When the internet first burst onto the scene, there were not that many people that knew what the potential of it was. And a lot of our computers, in fact, most of our computers were not connected to the internet. And so the value was slow to trickle out. But over time, devices all got connected, people got informed, people got educated, and businesses got redesigned around the potential of the internet. My one wish is for AI to follow a similar evolution where medtech devices get connected, policymakers get educated, businesses redesign themselves around the promise of AI, and I think that will lead to all kinds of new capabilities, and most importantly, it'll lead to amazing new better patient outcomes.
Magic. Right. Dr. Reddy?
Yeah, my dream is that AI in healthcare will enable us to give equitable care, whether the patient is in a village or a city, whether he has rich or poor, whether he has access to healthcare or not. Hopefully, using AI, we can give an equitable care to all groups of patients, and I hope that will come in future.
Noble. Yeah. Olga?
Yes, very, very good answer. Patience is always the answer. I think for us, we're here because we want to make impact, right? I think anybody who comes and does something in healthcare or drug development is for a reason. You knew somebody who needed care they didn't have, or you think you can really benefit the world. And I think AI has an opportunity to either go into creating collaboration, empowering groups of people to come together, delivering better care and better promise, or creating isolation, because I'm sure it's very pleasant to speak to AI bot about your problems, and that could create a little silo. So I think it's up to us to focus on a bigger impact that AI could make and really pull it into the right direction of collaborations, rather than isolated, very egoistic and centric applications. To me, that's very important in AI world.
Excellent. And Ricardo?
I think we have been able to crack and have some successful use cases in early drug discovery. To a couple of points also mentioned here, I think there's a couple of companies trying to accelerate as much as possible also clinical development, so there's a lot of promise there, but also a lot of bottlenecks. So I think if we can use AI to kind of understand biology better, phenotypically differences between patients with the same disease, and all of that, we can start doing smarter, more targeted trials as well. And this will hopefully not only expedite the level of recruitment, the level of technologies being applied for that level of patient selection, but also hopefully the speed at which we can move clinical trials globally. So that's my hope.
Super. Very good. That almost draws us to the end. I'm afraid I've been advised we're running out of time. We can't take any audience questions, so we may have to leave it at that. And just if I were to summarize and paraphrase as to what we heard, so a couple of key takeaways for me, and hopefully I think you'll have lots. First of all, promise of AI is real. So don't be on the fence. If you are thinking about it, make it a strategic imperative and a priority. Second, I think there are enough and more challenges, right from quality of data to everything that we talked about. But the important bit is have a governance and a strategy around it with customer and patient at the center. So that's what we picked up. And finally, all I would say is may the force be with AI and be with India. So thank you all for the session, and thank you to the panelists for your excellent insights. Hope you enjoyed it and have a great rest of the summit.
Thank you very much, lady and gentlemen. As you rightly said, let force be with AI. I really loved it. We end with that note. I would request you all to just be on the stage for a few more moments. All right, thank you so much, our panelists and our moderator, for their perspective and expertise. To show our appreciation, may I invite our session sponsor, EY Parthenon representative, Mr. Ashish Nanda, to please join us on stage. Yes, thank you very much, sir, to be over here. Let us first begin with thanking Dr. Ken Washington. Thank you so much, sir, to be a part of. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, sir, to be a part of this panel discussion. We'd like to thank Dr. Nageshwar Reddy. Sir, thank you so much. We'd like to thank Dr. Olga. Thank you, ma'am. And Dr. Ricardo. Thank you very much, Doctor, for your insights. Last, but of course not the least, for moderating this session so wonderfully, Mr. Chaitanya. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let us just have one photograph together with the mementos. Let's just capture this moment. We will now break for lunch and networking. We invite you to explore the exhibition area. Please connect with the industry leaders and enjoy a delightful meal. Please be back in your seats at around 2 p.m. as we have an exciting lineup of power-packed panel discussions waiting for you. Enjoy your meal and we will reconvene shortly for our next session. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. See you on the other side of the lunch.